Alright, I looked at this for too long yesterday and I never got past it, so let's wait. Oh, I didn't randomize it. Clicky, 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 clicky. It's not even the same type of puzzle. It was Tetris pieces before? It was a Tetris puzzle and now it's a triangle puzzle. Alright, well I spent too long looking at that. I'll come back to it later. Today I'll start something else. This one's like a sequence, I guess. A lot going on here. Got it. There you go. Because 2 and 2 and 3 and 2. Yep. Easy enough. These are so much easier than the shit I was dealing with before. That's the end. Gotta be careful there. We're missing the top right one. That needs another direction, but I can't go this way because then I can't go back up. Ruh-roh. And if I kink back around here, then I won't hit the middle one twice. So, new problem. That's 2. There we go. Just the very beginning has a rippling effect throughout the whole thing where if you change your approach to it. This is a lot of triangle puzzles. I feel like I think those were pretty rare before. I think they want me to go all the way around. But maybe not like that. Maybe, oop, you? There we go. There's enough triangles that it becomes restrictive enough that the only path through actually kind of jumps out relatively quickly. I wish I could say that about you. You fuck. Alright. It's good to get away from these puzzles and come back later because sometimes you just keep... Your brain intuits the same things over and over again and it's really hard to think of what you're not... What you haven't been trying. It almost works, but at the end there it's a 3, when it should be a 2. Scooping around like this is bad, because you don't separate the white from black. I'm trying to make a line that separates them. If I go top ways, then I can't go back down. That makes that one a 3. So I can't do this. If I start on this side? No. I was about to say that's all I had to do. Actually, it is, basically. I just have to go down first. There we go. So I mostly just had to reverse the direction and then I was good to go. Okay. I hate that I always associate these with those. I think of them on the same paths, like I have to separate the colors, but I have to just make them in pairs. I guess there's just There's something that feels less consistent about that. How do I put this? 'Cause it's not like a criticism exactly, but it's just like just trying to explain why I get so stuck on these. The triangles are a self-contained thing. Every triangle is a rule about how that one square needs to be dealt with, and that's it. So you don't have to worry about, like, its relationship to other things. It's just, it just affects the line, and the line affects its relationship to everything else. Like, the line combines everything. And so, like, these guys, you kind of, like, divide the board into two or more areas, and you draw them out for the black and white pieces. But for the spiky balls, it's a little bit in the weird territory of, like, the error symbol, where suddenly you're having to, like, match something up with one other thing. And so it has like a different mental approach to a lot of it. You're not just grouping things or something in the usual way of, like, these guys. And you're also not just solving individual tiles the way you do the triangles, but suddenly you have to, like, figure out how to make one thing match up with exactly one other thing. And also there's ambiguity of which one it even means. And so there's, like, you can spend a lot of time trying to solve a thing that isn't even the solution, and then you have to just group it up with something else, and it's a much more complicated set of options. There we go. 2, 2, 1, 3, 2 and 2, 2 and 2. This is admittedly where I also get fucky, is that they do this. This mechanic is so weird. I feel like it wasn't even in the base game. I feel like this is a mechanic that the randomizer picked up on, was like, this will be fun. So it's like, other symbols that aren't a squiggly box, a star, can be paired with the stars in a confusing way. Okay, so this is a 3, so I can only go this way or this way, which means I'm not pairing this symbol with a star, because it's impossible. So good to know. So this one, we do not have the bottom right one paired with any, or specifically it's paired with another star over there, so this should not work. Yeah, because they're with too many of each other or something. One, two, 1, 2. Well, now they're all grouped up when that's bad. Hmm. No, because there's 3 of them grouped up. Yeah, everybody hated that. There we go. That's like really close to my previous solution. I just had to go around it on the other side at the end. Oop. I think this is all the wrong approach. So the white square can be with the black stars, but not the black square, and the black square can be with the white stars, but not the black stars. Because if I group up 2 black stars, then they can't be grouped with the black square. And there's only 3 of each symbol, so you can't satisfy the black stars with something else. So the black stars and the white stars have to be with themselves, and not the squares. Not because they're incompatible, but because the number doesn't match up, because there has to be 2. Which means that we then have to specifically either isolate the squares or put them with the opposing color, because the squares are only set off by other squares. It won't fuck up the star count because they're the wrong color, and it won't fuck up the squares because the squares are only set off by being in the same space as the other squares. It's weird. So I can't go this way, because me using this corner means that I can't separate these 2 from each other. So I have to go this way. Can't go this way because it sends me back. Like, I have to go this way to satisfy this thing. And considering how it's right there next to the opening, it's probably how I have to start the puzzle. No, I can't go that way. I have to go this way. There we go. Because that's how I separate the stars from the black square. But then things get frustrating because I need to separate this black square from that white square. And looping around like this, I won't be able to satisfy this thing because I have to end in the top corner. Is this it? Yes. Okay. You just don't go on the top left at all. Colleen. Things are getting weird. Okay, so these 2 need to be... Well, they can be with any of the triangles. But this one can't be with that. They have to be separated. Probably just like that. Or like this. Okay. The stars were not as weird as I expected because they don't interact with the triangles at all. They just pair with each other at the end. Being randomized, I feel like, means that the difficulty curve is all over the place. Like, not only just in general, but also like in a sequence. Sometimes the puzzles can get easier when intuitively they're supposed to get harder from one side to the other. This is one of the things I don't love about the randomizer, is the made-up shapes. They're so much more complicated to parse. This one might be stupid, though. This one might just be... This one's 3 across, that one's 3 across, well, down here, but 2 across the top. They might just slot into each other, like, up here. And then here. And this one probably... I think if this one slots in with that being there and that being there, that means there's a gap right here. Which I believe means that one has to go there. So the whole top row should be full. So I basically need to draw the shape from the bottom as best as I can, while imagining how they slot in. So right above here. So this is the end of its, like, part that sticks out. So this square right here is getting filled in by the left shape, even though it's space in the right shape. But that leaves this space being the empty shape. So that means this is going to be where the 2 goes. Yeah. But also I have to make the whole thing go down by 1 and leave the top row empty, because it has to touch this bottom right one or it doesn't work. So it's actually going to start here. So this is the part that sticks out in the bottom of the F-shaped one. And this is the square that's getting filled in by the 2 pips, which means that this square down here is the other one of the 2 pips. So that's going to be filled in instead of empty. Which should mean this is the bottom left corner of the left shape, but then this hole is still here, and I think that's it. Yep. That's the end result of all that mixed together. There's rocks in my way. Hello. I've admittedly not even been looking for these.
God bade me behold the sea, and I
Bad?
saw the ships sinking and the planks floating. Then the planks too were submerged. And God said to me, those who voyage are not saved. And he said to me, those who, instead of voyaging, cast themselves into the sea, take a risk. And he said to me, those who voyage and take no risk shall perish. And he said to me, in taking the risk, there is a part of salvation. And the wave came and lifted those beneath it and overran the shore. And he said to me, the surface of the sea is a gleam that cannot be reached, and the bottom is a darkness impenetrable. And between the two are great fishes, which are to be feared. Nefari, circa 970. What?
I'm going to the store. Do you want a sandwich or something?
You've been standing there for like an hour.
I didn't want to interrupt.
And I don't like sandwiches. Have you ever seen me with a sandwich? Why would you think I want a sandwich?
Sorry.
No, I need some sleep.
It's okay. We're all working hard.
I just want to read it right. We're going to be hearing this a lot of times. Every little thing matters because it gets so multiplied.
It's good. It's already good.
Thanks. Yeah. But we've kind of picked high goalposts. Every little bit matters. Oh, can you get me a coffee?
Ashley Johnson, right? She who plays Ellie in The Last of Us. It's funny. I had definitely played The Last of Us when I played this game originally, but I just didn't have her brain as programmed into my brain. Her voice is programmed into my brain, I guess. But then I played the remake on the channel, and then I played the sequel, and now it's like, holy shit, it's Ellie. It's like very noticeable. I've been working this a little bit, but it's hard to think about. But I think I have an approach. A little bit. No, I don't. These are frustrating. They often give you shapes that are borderline that are basically impossible to draw. And so your way out of this being impossible to draw is to either add other shapes to it so that you don't have to draw those parts, or delete those parts with the blue. But you also have to use every blue and every yellow, which means that the shape you do draw also has to connect to all of those spots. And that's just where, like, all the things you start juggling get really, really fucky. She was mean. Why would I want a sandwich? Have you ever seen me with a sandwich? I'm like, I don't... Dude, I don't even notice when people cut their hair sometimes. Like, you think I'm constantly, like, aware of what lunches people consistently get across all the people I know? Like, fucking... Nobody's like that. But obviously she was just iffy. She was also getting, like, continually annoyed because there was this background radiation of somebody that was like, waiting... And she knew they were there, but they weren't saying anything for a long time while she was doing a thing. It's because he wanted to be nice and get her something, but also didn't want to interrupt. And he awkwardly just stayed there for too long. Not interrupting, but also kind of being a problem by just existing there and not just going away. Because there's just that sense of, like, just the awareness that somebody's just there. It's funny because, like, I enjoy the rug pull in this weird part of the game where you go under the cave and suddenly people talk like people again. Because, like, the quotes, like, some of them are interesting and a lot of them I just hate. A lot of them I have no interest in. I'm incredibly bored by a ton of the audio logs in this game. And then you just have this, like, fucking reveal that they're just like, yeah, whatever. They're just sitting here chatting about the thing that you were annoyed by to some extent. And just the whole pretense drops and they're acting like people all of a sudden. If I move this one over here, it goes zigzaggy. And then these two, I figure these two awkward separated dots are really hard to draw, so you probably use the blue on those, which just makes it a 3. In which case I can probably do this 3, this 3, and this 2. Maybe. The problem is I can't go around. Like, there's the 3. Well, it's almost. Let's see. Is that the shape I was thinking about? Because the 2 on the right are gone, but there's a 3 on top now and a 2 on the right. And all of the shapes are included, including the blue. Yep, I think this would work if the exit was not over there. Because you can't... The problem here is you have an empty space on the top left and the bottom right, and it's very hard to draw both those empty spaces with one line when the exit's not in either of those spots. I put the 2 up top and the 3 in the bottom right. I don't think anything quite like this will solve the problem. If I merge it all together, I can do... I think I can move this over so it's over here, and then put the 3 here and the 2 up top. I think that might count. That's how the rules work. It does. Wow, that's really hard to envision a little bit. So what I had to do is I had to take this part, so it's just these 3 right here that are here, and then the rest of it is deleted, but also it's overlapping the 3. There's also kind of a funny little, like, break of the format and so on in a kind of fun way, in that this rock cave-in is in the way, so you actually... there's a little discomfort that comes from the fact that you can't lock onto it. Technically, you can solve puzzles from, like, whatever range, generally speaking, if you can click on them. Which I use on purpose sometimes, like with the part where I had to solve 6 puzzles at once. But here you're denied. There's just a cave-in here. You cannot interact with this puzzle the normal way. You have to play it at a weird angle. Not a hazardous one. It's not nearly as frustrating as the irritating stuff that was happening inside the mountain with the visual glitches, but just a little touch, just a little detail. Just a way that the environment subtly complements and disturbs and kind of adds theming and context to the puzzles you're doing in ways that are hard to articulate, because yeah, it's questionable whether or not any of this has a point, or if it's just clutter, or if it's just scenery or something. People really took issue with that at some point, even though the game does also have a bunch of environmental puzzles, so it actually turns out that the environment is important to the puzzles. I didn't even try to solve it, I just made a symmetrical shape that I enjoyed. Alright. I've got to use symmetry. There's no blues, but I do have to make this into a shape. My go-to example is that this probably goes here. Because this is an odd number of grid spaces. So this vertical part's going to be in the middle, and so it's going to have like a plus sign here. So this has to form the rest of the plus sign. Fuck. No, because this corner and that corner can't overlap. So it's going to be asymmetrical. Oh, no. And like the reason I say it has to be symmetrical is because they have to combine somehow. Like I have to be able to draw it with symmetrical lines. So that's why I figure you probably center it somehow. But I am somewhat considering whether that's even possible. Or if this one just does a brain break. So I don't think it's possible to separate them. I was wondering whether or not you can draw two separate shapes somehow. But if you look at the way that the L is shaped, it's in the bottom right corner, so it has to be here, unless it's switching places with things. And it's shaped like this, so it goes right up against these two, so that they're going to be touching no matter what, which means we are making a combined shape no matter what. Out of these three things, we are not making two separate shapes. Because it's impossible to do that. Man. It really felt right, too. Oh, okay. No, I should have been thinking about that. It's not that kind of symmetry. Okay. This gives me something to play with a bit. It's this kind of symmetry. Right, I wasn't thinking about that enough. I was thinking about the idea of left and right being matching each other, not being flipped. So I just tried to draw the plus sign just for fun, and then I realized I can't because the other one's upside down. Okay. Fuck, that makes this really hard to think about, though. One, two, three, four, five, six. I can't stack them on top of each other. Oh boy. I don't think I can visualize this one. I think I need to draw it. It's right now this one and this one are the defects that stop this from just being a zigzag that goes across the screen. There's probably something else that doesn't quite work too. There's gonna be something... These two are the contradiction right now. Also, I'm not touching any of these. Kind of a fundamental problem. It's almost easier to think about the negative space more. Like at first glance, you're like, I don't know, does it look symmetrical at all? And like, of course it doesn't, but like, the way that you actually tell is these squares. Does this shape look like that shape? And what could I change to make those shapes look the same as each other? And the answer is mostly, I don't know. Because these are very strange shapes to try to combine. We got 2x3 and 2x4. This is in some ways the closest to symmetry we've gotten, but all versions of close are equally wrong. Oh. 4 and 3 and 4 and 3. Okay, so 4, 3, 3, 4. I did it! Ta-da! Alright. Stumbled on that solution, but got it. I would have such a harder time with some of these solutions if I didn't have any kind of assistance I could try to use.